Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Cara Delane and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings and Cara Delane.
Howdy, everyone, and welcome to the After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And wow, Ted and I are both in cowboy hats tonight. I'm digging it.
Yeah.
What happened, Owen? Where's yours? Brad? April?
Okay, but he was making fun of my hat, so I was like, okay, it's wrong.
Owen!
Owen!
Fun!
I struck out tonight. That's all right.
It's all right.
I was telling everybody I got to get this hair right. So,
All right, Owen, we got a special guest coming in as well. So,
here we go.
Everybody, welcome
Hey!
Hey, guys.
All right. Aaron, thank you for joining us. All right, so we got the hats, we got the big event. Cara, that's like a week away, right?
A week away from today, Ted. I'm so excited. Our first ever 4-day virtual event starts next Monday, January 23rd.
All right, so next Monday, everybody, we kick off the first 4-day Fixed Ops Roundtable, Monday, January 23rd. It is an all-star lineup. You see some of the folks here on the screen. We're going to go 4 full days. There are no watered-down days next week, and it's the Wild West, and you're not going to want to miss it. Just in the last day or so, we announced a couple of the radical change panels. There's a couple of these coming up, and this one here has Ed Roberts, Brian Kramer, Mike Cavanaugh from Lithium Motors, Fred Forden, Steve Westner. So stay tuned for these. There's a whole lot, and these have been a long time in the making, and they're all part of the 4-day event. Plus, Cara, we're going to have Owen Moon from Fixed Ops Digital with us next week. So looking forward to it.
Hopefully in a cowboy hat.
He's got to bring a cowboy hat. I agree. There's no excuse, Owen.
I've had a lot going on in my life the last month. I didn't have a time to get a cowboy hat, all right?
Yeah, well, we want to congratulate you on that. Also, by the way, we're live, right, tonight, Cara?
We are live tonight on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So hopefully everyone's sharing the video. I see Owen's already commenting. How are you doing that, Owen?
Yeah, magic.
Multitasking.
Want to do a quick shout out to our exclusive sponsor for all of 2023. It is BG Products here on the After Dark Show, Partners Beyond Products. Next week, Cara, we are going to learn all 4 days what Partners Beyond Products means. BG has an exceptional display of segments ahead, including their new augmented reality that service advisors and technicians can use to show customers a lot of the work that's being performed. So state of the art, first of its kind, won a couple of awards already. So we're going to get a chance to demo that next week here on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Owen, congratulations to you as well. You've got a new addition to the family.
Yeah, as a lot of you probably know, my daughter had her baby the week before Christmas. So I became a grandparent. So there's my daughter, Michaela, and her husband, Jordan, and then our little grandkid, Cohen. So been a fun month here. We were just back up there this weekend, getting a chance to see the little guy. And it's amazing how much he's changed in 3 weeks. So
yeah, they grow up fast, and it looks like you're starting them right here.
Yeah, he was disappointed yesterday, too. So, Aaron, I don't want to hear it.
I wasn't going to say anything.
I know.
Congratulations to
he's
you,
cute,
Owen, and your family. Beautiful baby. And that's your first grandchild, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You don't look old enough to be a grandfather.
Well, how are you a grandfather, Owen?
Well, I did tell my daughter that she should have got my permission first, but she didn't think that's how it worked. So, I guess.
All right. So tonight we have Owen Moon from Fixed Ops Digital. We have Brad Pascal from Fixed Ops Digital. We have April Simmons here from the Horn Automotive Group. April, am I right with that?
Got it.
All right. And Aaron Sparks. Aaron, and the name for your dealership group is what?
Denoyer
Denoyer
Automotive Group.
And where's Denoyer Automotive Group?
Yeah, we are in Southwest Michigan, and it is in the greater area of Kalamazoo. So that's, you might remember, there's a gal in Kalamazoo, the song. So it's an easy one to remember, but we have 4 brands. We have Chevy, Ford, Toyota, and Jaguar.
Tony Owens, you would remember that song, okay? I think that goes back a
Tony
long,
Owens.
long time, even before our time, Tony. So, Aaron, honored to have you. So, Owen, you got a big segment at the Fixed Ops Roundtable coming up next Monday afternoon about 1:30 Eastern Time. So, talk to us.
Yeah. Just kicking off the year. Obviously, I like the last 60 days of a year because you kind of look at what's been done the last 10 days, and then Mark. Last 10 months of the year, and then you kind of look at those last couple months of what's going on and for the next year. And so we did a lot of planning in the end of the year. We're really working towards obviously with NADA being in the end of January as well. There's gonna be a lot of things going on in Dallas. Obviously with this show coming up in the same time frame. So really what we're focusing on for 2023 is getting inside those profit centers, just taking a little deeper dive into parts, tires, accessories, collision, all of those profit centers that, everybody likes to say, oh, the service and parts business is this really large dollar, industry. But then everybody sort of just blanket coverage it and moves on, right? So what I'm trying to focus on in my session is really getting into some of the trenches of some of those other profit centers, just to kind of kick the year off and get everybody thinking a little bit deeper into the departments and what can we do to be better in those departments. So
there's a couple of retail people in the comments I just want to give a shout out to. I saw Mark Mickens in there, who is going to be on the mobile service panel with My Karma coming up next week. Also, I saw Sean Butler, who is Owen, you know Sean Butler, right?
Sean's awesome. Love that guy.
He's all over the event.
Good human.
Looking forward to that. And this gentleman here, Kyle Cloud, who's with the Carl Black Automotive Group, he's in Orlando, and he's on a big segment with a company that's doing some unique technology on the service drive called UVI. But we're talking about how it's going to be used for marketing and merchandising and helping to package used vehicles. So it's a reconditioning segment. So Kyle, very honored to have you. He's very knowledgeable at the first Fixed Ops Roundtable of his. And Owen, that perhaps might be some new talent as well for a panel coming up, perhaps with yourself.
Yeah, I'd love to have him. I mean, I think UVI is doing some great stuff. And before we get going, Tony, I was just going to give Tony Owens a shout out on his license plate. I saw on Facebook. He, if you haven't seen it, go check out his post. He's got a sweet license plate on his vehicle. So
I think it says Fixed Ops, right?
It does. Yes.
So you got to get him the rest of the thing. It says Fixed Ops Digital. This way, he completes it properly.
There might be too many letters or whatever. I don't know. States have a lot of those.
So April, thank you so much for all you do. I see you everywhere on social media as well. So talk to us about what's going on at the Horn Automotive Group and what you're working on.
This is going to be another extremely busy year. I joke that my job is to squeeze dimes out of pennies and trying to maximize all those things. But the one thing I wanted to talk about tonight, because it just happened a few days ago and I found it very relevant to the conversation that we're about to have. But Bob Lahman, who used to be at Facebook, is with Car Now. He posted on LinkedIn the other day about trying to buy tires and that he had gone to the dealerships all around him and was unable to find any information out at all on any of these dealers' websites. Whereas when he went to the third party, he was able to go on, to a Jiffy Lube or Discount Tire or what have you, and plug the information in, get the quote. Here's what it is installed. Here's what these things are. And shockingly, that the dealers around him, none of them did. Now, I would expect at this day and age that there may still be one or two, but I even was a little bit thrown aback that there wasn't anybody around him, any dealership that had anything about tires on their website. But it got me thinking back to when I first moved upstairs to the group in 2018, and I had to explain to people that the majority of the website traffic was for service, that we do everything for sales, and we talk about the customer experience for sales. But the majority of your traffic to your website is actually for service. So where is the customer experience for the things that customers are looking for in regards to service? I'm proud and happy to say that, yes, we have all of those things on our website. You can literally go online, plug in by car or by tire that you want, pick those things out, get the installation quote and rock on. But I'm really surprised at how lack of conversation we still have about customer experience when it comes to the service and our websites. Really, really shocks me. And we talk customer service all the time, and we always relate it to sales. It's always about the sale. But if we take care of them in the service department, then we have a lot better shot that they'll come back and buy from us as well. So it really does go hand in hand. But I think we just need to really shout it more from the rooftops, because evidently people ain't hearing us out there.
Well, think about it though. I mean, you're saying there's nothing on the website, but how many times have you walked into a dealership and it's not in the dealership as well? So does it really surprise us that there's nothing being focused on the website when it comes to tires or any of these other profit centers? I mean, we always talk about that with our stores. Like, hey, if you're not putting something out on your dealership, like out on the showroom or, in the back by the service department, then are you really in the tire business?
Well,
Right.
Owen, I know April's right, because it's not transparent. You can't get the quote, you can't get the price, you can't do the comparison, not just on the tire, but on the installation with the labor. That's in most, I would go so far as to say, April, in most dealerships, it's not transparent at all.
Well, if you go through, let's just say I bought tires recently and I had the same experience. So if you go through Discount Tires website,
Yeah.
you can pick out the tires, you can apply for financing. They have 0% if you pay it off within a certain amount. Why are we not taking notes from that, right? Why are we forcing people down a process where they can do it so much easier there than they can do it in the dealership? And then we're saying, hey, why are we not selling any tires? Well, look at the process that they're providing, and how's the closest way that we can mimic that process or learn or reverse engineer it and bring it into our dealerships is a really, really important question that we need to solve,
I can speak to that a little bit more as well too. I recently just did this with our dealership group, and the biggest hurdle was ourselves. So it was really not the case that we didn't want to do that, but the comments that you get back are things like, but the pricing changes all the time, and there's too many options. We can't do all of that. And to be fair, we're not really set up to have the same process that like a Tires Plus or, any of those third-party companies are really set up to have. But what could you have? So like sometimes you just got to think of the things that are possible and not think of all the things that are seemingly impossible. And we came to the agreement that we can still put something out there. It can, have some caveats there that say like still check pricing with dealer, but I think having something is better than nothing. And so I think if you're a person like me sitting in my seat and you've got your parts manager or your fixed ops managers and they're saying like, ugh, too difficult, like you're standing in your own way a little bit, because I think you maybe need to think of what's possible, not all the issues that could come arise from that. Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, you're probably going to have somebody that's going to argue with you about it, but you're probably going to also sell 5 times that than the one that you did have the issue with. So.
Well, and to your point, Aaron, I think, and it ties right into this conversation. Why in the car business is it always 0 or 100, right? It's either all or none. Like either, no, we're not going to touch it, or it's got to be this fully functioning e-commerce machine that, you know what I mean? It's like, why not start somewhere, right? And a good way to start is to, maybe put a piece of content out there that talks about comparisons, to April and Brad's point, having some comparison information out there. Maybe take your accessories and say, hey, what are the top 9 or 10 accessories that you sell? Let's get those out there. So, again, that doesn't have to be the end game, but it's better than nothing. And that's, I think, what, Aaron, to your point is, let's start somewhere. Let's get something out there. So at least it starts a conversation. Then that person that's in the store that's really good at talking to customers when they get there has something to at least kickstart the conversation, right?
Cindy Reynolds is in the chat, and I know she's done a lot of work studying this, and she uses that word they are consistent with the entire experience. And you're right, Cindy, that word consistency rings true. Owen, April's point that most of the dealership's website traffic comes in for service. What have you guys found, you and Brad at Fixed Ops Digital, in looking at that? Because I would agree, the great majority of that traffic has got to be service related.
Yeah, I mean, it's been proven for years that a lot of the paid search traffic that's coming in from sales is service related. Obviously, with our with our products and what we do, we track everything through Google Analytics. So we use a third party source to help us segment traffic and things like that. But yeah, we see a lot of traffic that's coming in, especially organically. When we see that organic traffic coming in from service. We're bringing it into like those specials pages and stuff where they're very segmented, because people that are looking for service, aren't necessarily looking for tires and vice versa. So you got to have some segmentation on the website to be able to find, because customers can easily find that information. And when they don't find it, guess what? They're going to keep going. So they'll just leave and keep rolling. So.
And April, the tires are the defection point, right? When the customer buys the tires somewhere else, that's a lost opportunity. Brian Benstock says, we don't make any money on the tires, but it's all the other stuff that comes with it, plus the loyalty factor that they're going to be back in the market.
Exactly. It's kind of like, and we talked about it in sales forever. We spend all this money to get them to our website. We don't want to lose them. We spend all this money to get them to walk into our showroom. We don't want to lose them. The same things apply to fixed ops. We spend all this money to get them to our website. You don't want to lose them. If they come to your website and you don't have the answers and you don't have the tools, then they're going to start Google searching other things to find the answers that they're looking for. And as soon as they land on somebody else's site that actually gives them a price and here's some different options for your vehicle that you can go and buy, that's why we lose the accessories. That's why we lose the tires. That's why we lose a lot of those things. But now it gets worse because every single one of those other parties are now doing work on those cars as well. So they get the tires, but now that if they have a good experience there, they upsell them. So now you've lost the oil change and you've lost the repeat service. You may even start losing warranty work at some juncture because some of them are starting to get access and ability to do it. So if we want to keep our customers, you need to make sure that you apply everything you would in sales as far as customer experience to service so that you're answering all those questions so that they don't leave your site.
I love that. Strong. To go back, I mentioned Brian Benstock at Paragon Honda. He told me the story, and this is right around Thanksgiving, that he went into the local grocery store about 2 weeks before the holiday and said he saw that they had a sale on turkeys. I think it was 75 cents a pound. I'm not sure the exact number. He went in and said, I want to buy 500 turkeys for his employees. And they said, no way. They said, we'll sell you one turkey for that price. He said, why? He said, well, we lose money on every turkey, but the average grocery cart is $85. So it's the same concept that we don't make money on tires, but we make money on the alignments, on the brakes, on all the things that go along with it. And he says that we need to take a page from what they do in that industry. And I think that's true.
I think something to consider too is as EVs move into the market, what a lot of people don't say is that those are much heavier vehicles and electric engines have a lot more torque, right? So they're going to burn through tires faster. So now's the time to start really focusing on that. Let me ask you a question, April. If you had a GM and he had 100 cars in stock and he's missing 10 off the website, how upset is he?
Oh, out of his mind.
All right. Why are they not equally upset when that stuff is missing on the service side?
Exactly. Because there's still like this thought process when it comes to fixed ops that they all just show up. Customers just show up. They just buy the stuff we tell them to, and that's how it rolls. And it's not. It's absolutely not. And we need to start proving it. But the way we prove it is we have to bring in the service department and show them the facts. Right? We have the data. We know that these customers are coming in and looking to do these things, but are we going that extra step and pulling in our fixed ops teams and making sure that they actually know it, understand it, and therefore want to do it? I think that's one of the biggest things that where we miss is we don't bring them into that conversation.
Oh.
Aaron, I got a question for you. Highlines, right? You just kind of started working with Jag.
Yeah.
What are you finding there from tires, accessories, all that? I mean, are you noticing there that's a little more specialized when it comes to some of the aftermarket stuff?
Yes. Everything is, even the conversation is specialized, not just the parts and the things that are needed for it. Everything is specialized for it, and so that you need to be prepared ahead of time. They are, I wouldn't say 100% of the time, but I think a majority of the time, it should be well thought out ahead of time. And so I think when you're like, I think April kind of said, like, they just come in and they just do whatever we tell them to do. I think it's almost slightly flipped on that aspect. They might still just come in, but they already know what they want. They already know what they need to have. They are prepared that you think you're already prepared for them to come in, and then you're going to have the thing that they have right away. Because that's what is expected of a vehicle that is that price, with that kind of warranty, with that kind of backing behind it. So you really need to have all of your ducks in a row ahead of time. And sometimes the auto industry just isn't quite prepared for that experience right now.
Yeah, she's right. Right.
Funny story. It kind of ties into all this. I had a GM tell me one time that he had sold a brand new Ram to a customer, and like 3 weeks later, maybe a month later, the guy drives back up, and he's got, it's lifted, it's got running boards, tonneau cover. I mean, the thing is decked out, right? It doesn't even look like the same truck. And this guy is all pumped up, wanted to show him everything that he did to it, thinking that the general manager was just going to be like super excited for him because it changed or whatever. And all the general manager thought was, that's money out of my pocket. That's money out of my pocket. And he's like, why didn't I sell all of these things to him? And it's something that we have to get into it more as an industry. Unfortunately, I just think that a lot of, service departments are still, very overwhelmed with just some of the day-to-day. So you got to find not only good partners, but utilize your marketing departments to help, sort of at least kickstart it, and then you can build from it. It doesn't have to be done 0 to 100, but let's get it to 50% and then work our way up, in my opinion.
And we even talk about that between the sales and the service team together, having some more unity between the two, because it can't just be they sold the car and now we're responsible for everything else. Like, that conversation doesn't have to start at their first service conversation. It can start when they sold the car. So what are you giving your sales team to make that transition really easy to, talk about accessories, to talk about that first, second, third, fourth, 10th oil change, all of those things that make it a team and not just two separate teams that reside in the same building.
Well, and Jared just said that pay plans aren't built around growth or tires or oil changes. He's 100% correct. I mean, part of it is how we compensate at the store level, right? I mean, everyone still has a job to do. They still have families to feed. If you make it part of your pay plan, and I guarantee you, if they do that, you'll instantly see an increase in those sales, right? So
I think one thing, I came from a store that did a ton of cross training. So like every salesperson knew what was covered on every warranty. Every salesperson knew every maintenance schedule of every car, which JLR has 90,000 maintenance schedules. So I don't envy you there, Aaron, because they have a different pricing for every engine size pretty much. But I think the most important thing is that we don't do on this is ask the customers and get their input, right? So I came from a store that was really good at having dinners and surveying people and finding out pain points so that they could get better. And I think that's something that we really have to focus on, because they're our customers. They're going to tell us what's wrong, right? We just have to be able to listen.
Yeah. One other thing I was just thinking about as everybody was talking, like an unintended maybe advantage of trying to do more in tires and accessories. Okay. We've talked a lot over this last year, especially about the lack of techs. What level of a tech do you have to be to swap out tires, right? You're talking about getting potentially going out there and getting some more entry level techs at a low cost, and now being able to work with them to get them younger, to get them newer, and get them into the shop and be able to actually start grooming them up as well. So I think there's another, advantage of potentially looking at going more and more into some of those other profit centers, is that they'll grow into other even bigger things down the road.
Good point. There's a lot of talk at this Fixed Ops Roundtable about sales and service and F&I working together. Owen, I mean, there's a lot of discussion about that. There's a panel on the sales to F&I to service handoff, and there's another panel on the service to sales handoff. How about that? Okay, going the other way.
Wow.
And then, of course, this gentleman who's in the chat tonight, Steve Apicella, is going to be speaking on day one. On day two, Steve. You got a keynote in the afternoon, and he's got a panel as well, on that whole modern retailing discussion. And you're right, sales and service are operated like two separate companies under one roof. And really, it's the customer coming to the dealership, Owen, right? Not, to ABC sales or service or parts.
Yeah, look, we're evolving so much as an industry, and our processes have to evolve. The departments have to synergize even more. And I know it's been it's one of those like conversations everyone's having on the roundtables and other places, but it has to become the reality. And I think that we're moving too slow. Unfortunately, the auto business has always been a little behind on some things, but I think the processes just need to, and it's a little out of my wheelhouse. I mean, I'm a marketing guy, right? But I know when I see it out there and I go, there's so much opportunity for, I made a comment I was on a podcast a while back, and I said, if I was an owner right now, I'd be investing in land and buildings, because that's where, I'd have an EV service bay area, and I'd have a nice area, because you don't want them together, right? You want that EV to be cleaner, and it's going to need to be a little bit different environment. And I don't know if you guys are buying any land in Horn or Denoyer, but I'd be buying land and building buildings. That's what I'd be doing. So,
Kara,
buildings, Owen.
Yeah. I feel bad because Sean Kingery says, we all talk and Kara has no chance to chime in. Kara, you're a huge part of the advertising and marketing world. What are you seeing in terms of, traffic coming into the website, service, and, your observations and your thoughts?
Yeah, tonight it's been kind of nice to keep my mouth shut, because all I've sat here and thought about this whole conversation is, I think in the 3.5 years that I've been at these dealerships, I've organically marketed tires a handful of times, probably nothing more. And it's not that I haven't asked my service advisors and some of our techs about them. It's just like Owen was saying and Aaron was saying, it's just not a hot topic that the dealerships want to push and these managers. And it's something that I think about because I run through tires like crazy, and I'm like, hey, we sell tires here. Why don't we ever talk about it? Why don't we have them out, in the lounge or whatever it may be that I've seen at some other places? And I think as we sway into the EV and things change over the industry in the next few years, we're going to have no choice but to talk about it. But Owen's right. It should start at the dealership and then boost with people like Fixed Ops Digital through their marketing as well. But, I'm just outing myself right now because I'm part of the problem. So I hope to change that here soon.
The first step is admitting it. So.
Right.
That's right. A lot of good conversation on tires and a lot more coming. Fixed Ops Roundtable is next week, everybody. It's 4 days. Owen Moon is speaking on day number 1 in the afternoon. We look forward to seeing Owen. I saw that there was a wanted poster up on social media today. Owen,
still without the cowboy hat. Dang it!
Yeah, no hat. Okay, so
I know
we got to change that for next week. So, looking forward to the big event and a whole lot of conversation coming up. And thank you to everybody who's here tonight. Aaron and April and Brad for all you do for retail automotive, and thank you for everybody in the comments as well. Kara, give us the dates again on that on the event.
It's 1 week away, Ted. It starts on January 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th. So hopefully everybody's got their complimentary tickets already. But if you haven't yet, grab them now at fixedopsroundtable.com.
Yeah, and we do want everybody to sign up soon because we have a lot of texts that are coming out with the agenda is now online, by the way. If you don't know, the full agenda for the 4 days is on there, and you can see the times of the speakers, the panels. I think there are 32 or 33 panels, Owen, at this event. So it's just phenomenal, and I think 157 speakers on top of that, and 5 keynotes, and it is a lot. So. So, Kara, I'm going to be handing that off to you here shortly in another day or two.
What have you been doing the last couple of months, Ted? No, just kidding.
Not much.
Not much.
You know, so anyway, I think we're taking the month of February off.
I wouldn't blame you.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff.
Well, April, Aaron, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Obviously, I love talking marketing with you guys. Figured it'd be a good time to kind of kick off the year with a online service marketing panel, and look forward to seeing you guys at a upcoming event, or just maybe I'll make a swing trip to your guys' store one of these days. So
come on in.
Always welcome.
Aaron, I might wait till the spring for you. I know what it's like. We're Michigan, South Dakota, it's all the same.
I think you're just real salty still. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean, go Bucks? I'm over here being nice and not saying anything. I'm rooting on these Cowboys right now, you know?
Well, because the comments come up, but if I didn't actually voice on a video, then that would be wrong of me. So.
I know.
We wouldn't be friends if that wasn't the case here. Come on.
Yeah.
That's true.
Owen only put me on here because his team's out today.
Yeah, he did
That's
pick
not
tonight.
true.
That's
You're
right.
already on the agenda.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys so much for being on tonight. Always great laughs with Fixed Ops Digital and all of the people on the screen. And I can't wait for the big Fixed Ops 4-day roundtable. So hopefully we'll see you all there. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We will see you on Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Thank you.